Alright, here we are back for the third installment. My name is Scott Harris. I'm documenting my comic collection for insurance purposes. Right now I'm going through my Avengers collection. I do have a full run of Avengers, as well as literally hundreds and hundreds, maybe even over 1,000 guest appearances, crossovers, miniseries, West Coast Avengers, solo Avengers, all that stuff. But for the purposes of this, we're just doing Avengers 1 through 150, the expensive stuff. So this will be the final installment of the Avengers. Bit of this will start here, of course, with number 101. I happen to have a very nice high-grade copy of 101, which is a very difficult copy to find in high grade because of the black cover. My copy's not perfect, but it looks beautiful with the black background in nice condition. Here's a nice copy of 102 I have. My copy is signed up here by Joe Sinnott, who did both the cover and the interior inking. One of the true living legends of comics, one of the greatest inkers of all time, arguably the greatest. Best known, of course, for Fantastic Four, but I'm not a Fantastic Four collector, so whatever. 103, another black cover, also hard to find in high grade. My copy is not high grade because, like I just said, it's hard to find in high grade. All of these issues, though they didn't cost me a lot, were difficult to find. I don't know why, but for some reason, issues 101 to, say, 112 were more difficult to find than the issues before or afterwards. Here's a high-grade 105. Another black cover that's very difficult to find in nice condition. These stories are just whatever, as far as I'm concerned, so... This is a pretty cool story in it. The beginning of a cool story. This is also high grade, and in some ways the white cover is almost more difficult to find the high grade than the black cover, because the black cover, if you have creases, they pop out. But if it's dirty, it's not a big deal. With the white covers, if you get dirt on them, they get dirty, they get faded, they turn yellow. It's very difficult to find like a bright white cover. So this is a nice, very nice looking copy of 106. There's 107, great cover from Rich Buckler. This is part of a storyline, obviously with the Grim Reaper. This is the storyline that kind of establishes the idea that he considers the Vision to be his brother because the Vision's brain patterns are based on Wonder Man, who is the Grim Reaper's brother. Here's the last issue of that storyline. Also, the Space Phantom's in this. This is one of the last times you'll see the Space Phantom for the next 15 years. 109, great cover. Hawkeye returns to his original costume instead of that monstrosity he was wearing for the last few issues. Just in time to quit. He still hangs around, though. He appears right after this in Daredevil 99, and then he pops over to Defenders. You can almost, follow Hawkeye around as its own series. Here's 110. Nice copy of 110. This comic holds a special place for me, not just because it has a great Gil Kane cover featuring the X-Men, but mainly because it's the last issue of Avengers that I needed to complete my run. This is the last one I bought. I don't know why 110 is so much more difficult to find than every other issue of Avengers. It probably isn't, but for me it was. Finally got it at a comic show in Worcester. That was a happy moment for me. 111, second part of the storyline. Black Widow, I believe in this issue, agrees to join the team, but then does not actually do so. So whatever. Women, right? Oh boy. 112, I have a nice copy of this. This is the first appearance of Mantis, a character who I loathe, and the art's clearly by Don Heck. You can see it right on the cover. No question about that. 113. Best thing about this issue is the font they use up here for the numbers. It's extra fat. I don't know why. It's fatter than actually it was fat for a couple issues. This story is ridiculously stupid. So the less said the better. Here's Mantis joining the Avengers along with Swordsman. I'm a big fan of Swordsman. I can't stand the Mantis. Have a nice copy of this book. 115, the Avengers fight Neanderthals that live in a cave, so it's not exactly their most difficult mission. This is the third copy of 116 that I've owned. Progressively better. Like the first copy was just a rag. The second copy was not much better. This is a nice copy. This is the beginning of the Avengers Defenders War from the Avengers side. Of course, there's several issues of Defenders mixed in here, which I do own, but I'm not going to be showing them. I'm just going through Avengers. Here's the end of the Avengers Defenders War. Seminal moment, the first like major crossover, like ongoing epic. It was 6 issues plus an epilogue, so it really changed how the event books were done in comics. It was a new thing at the time. Return of the Collector. I do like the Collector. The Zodiac is in these issues. Here we have Cornelius Van Lunt, who previously was just a rich guy. Now he's a rich guy that wears a bull costume. So, when you're rich, you can do whatever you want. If you want to look like a moron, just go for it. Who's going to say anything, right? This is a good storyline. I like the storyline. I like the Zodiac. Cool cover. Like the yellow half frame. The Avengers bursting through old splash pages and from previous issues. Cool cover. My copy is pretty trash, but what are you going to do? They can't all be perfect. 123. Here's where we start learning that Zodiac member Libra is actually Mantis's father. He would go on to have a significant role in the series for the next year. When we start getting into the idea of the Celestial Madonna and stuff in with this issue, so I guess whatever. Here's an issue that's been getting a lot of traction recently. Sales. I have a pretty nice copy. It's pretty nice. It's not great, but it's a nice mid-grade, probably 6.5. This is the only issue of Avengers that actually crosses over into the Thanos arc and Captain Marvel. The Avengers are in almost every issue of that series. That storyline. So they're on the cover of 28 and several other covers. They play a major presence, but this is the only issue of Avengers that is actually part of that storyline. And since Thanos is appearing in the next Avengers movie, this is taken off for collectors quite a bit. 126, one-off, nothing very interesting here. Here's 127. 127, great cover by Gil Kane. I met Gil Kane back in the late 90s at a show. I didn't have any of my comics with me because it was in Orlando. I was on vacation, so I had to buy issues from Design at the show. This is one I'm a big fan of this cover. It's really, it's like pure Gil Kane. You can tell that he inked it himself. Or else he just, put the inker's nose to the grindstone because it's very, very Gil Kane in every aspect of it. This crosses over. This is the wedding of Quicksilver. It crosses over into Fantastic Four 150. 128. Here's where the Scarlet Witch starts becoming an actual witch. She starts getting training from Agatha Harkness in mystical arts and black magic. I can't stand the Scarlet Witch, and a lot of the things I don't like about her come from the Englehart run, this issue, and the previous one that I mentioned with the Living Bombs in 113. 129, one of the best covers of the whole series, featuring my favorite supervillain in comics, Kang the Conqueror. The beginning of the Celestial Madonna storyline, one of the most famous storylines in Avengers and in Marvel in general. 130, here's another cover where the teams line up and run at each other. That was sort of becoming a thing at the time. 131 is the first appearance of the Legion of the Unliving. They would show up a few times after that. It's funny, most of the people on this cover are no longer dead. It's supposed to be a team of all dead people, but like the original Human Torch, he's not dead anymore. Wonder Man's not dead anymore. Whatever. More Celestial Madonna stuff here is Return of Libra. Here's where Englehart and company, I think with an assist from Roy Thomas, start tying together like everything that ever happened in the Marvel Universe. Here's the origin of the Vision, which explains how he was created from the original Human Torch. And somehow that ends up tying into this issue, which is only like, yeah, okay, Ultron's on there and there's more Vision stuff, but we also get the history of the Kree and the Skrull and like 19 other things that have nothing to do with anything, but that's whatever. Celestia Madonna storyline, by the way, ended in Giant Size number 4, so that's it for that. This is a fill-in issue. It's a reprint of Amazing Adventures number 11. Number 12, I mean. 137, Beast and Moondragon join the team. Well, as probationary members, they're like tryout members. Moondragon never actually joins the team. They finally offer membership in 151 and she declines, so 138. 39. Here's Whirlwind again. Whirlwind, every time he appears, he was in 46. He appears again in 222. Every time he appears, he's basically, he's a stalker. He's just obsessed with the Wasp. 140. 's key issue. Return of the Squadron Sinister. This begins a big storyline that runs through 148 with the Serpent Crown saga. My copy is signed by George Perez. Major missed opportunity here because the cover is actually by Gil Kane, who was at the same show. But I just had so many different people I was trying to sign different books, it slipped my mind, and I ended up only getting Perez. This is George Perez's first issue of Avengers. 142. At the same time as the Serpent Crown, they also had the end of the big Kang saga that had been going on for several issues. Kind of comes to a head in the next issue, 143, where Kang gets killed and basically didn't appear in any Marvel comics until Secret Wars. So almost 10 years after this. It's kind of the last hurrah, the end of the Steve Englehart Kang stories, which have been going on for a year and a half. Here's the first appearance of Hellcat. It's actually Patsy Walker, who crossed over from the romance universe into the real world being the Marvel Universe, and took over the costume from the Cat. Don't really know what Englehart was planning with that, of course, because he got kicked off the book before she joined the team. 145, it's a fill-in, signed by Gil Kane right here. Yeah, I know. I had him sign this goofy fill-in instead of 141, so don't talk to me about it. Still bitter. 146. 147. Here's Jack Kirby back on the covers. After that two-part fill-in, we get back to the Serpent Crown saga. It's like right in the middle of a giant epic arc, we just have a random goofy two-part fill-in, which involves Hawkeye getting sick and throwing up in a wastebasket because he got poisoned. That's the only way he can survive. What do I do about the poison? I'm a superhero. I've got only one plan. Stick my finger to my throat and vomit all over the reader. 148. It's the end of the Serpent Crown. Here's 149. My copy, see here, it's a 30-cent price variant. They, at the time, did like test runs. This comic was 25 cents most places, but in certain select cities, they made it 30 cents to see whether kids would, actually shell out 30 cents. Because as soon as they found out they would, they changed the price to 30 cents because they're all about ripping off kids. It's the Marvel way. Finally, number 150. So as I said, I do have the rest of the run. We've got a full run of Avengers. But there's really nothing particularly valuable after this point. So I'm not going to show any of the others. I do have some autographed issues after this, several autographed by George Perez in particular, as well as Steve Epting and Paul Ryan. But, they don't really have a premium to anyone but me. So there it is. I'll be back at some point with a look at my Captain America collection and my Thor collection. There you have it.